Hi everyone, and welcome to another Business Book Club blog. This time out I've been reading The Squiggly Career by Helen Tupper and Sarah Ellis. Really interested in this one as I'm fascinated about helping people find their career direction, so an interesting read for me. First of all, I'll tell you a little bit about the book. And the book starts by explaining that in the modern world of work, we have more choice than any generation that's gone before us over the way we work. So we're no longer bound by the corporate structure. We can choose where we work, when we work, to a certain degree how we work or who we work with, and more importantly, why we work. So we no longer are our careers bound to this traditional linear structure. We have more choice than ever before. But of course, more choice means more responsibility, and therefore we need to decide what it is that we want to do in terms of our career direction. We need a roadmap. So this is where the book comes in. It contains lots of really useful topics, information, but also what I quite like about it is that it contains lots of exercises. So there's space in the book for you to do a bit of writing and to do a bit of reflection. And if you are going to read the book, my suggestion would be that you do the exercises as well as reading the content to get the most out of it. And if you do this, you should have some useful information about how to set your career direction in this world of the squiggly career. The first chapter of the book is about strengths, and I was really pleased about this because I am a strengths coach myself and a big believer in following your strengths. So the idea of strengths is that we should focus our time and our energy on what we're already good at. So this chapter is all about identifying your strengths and helping you find them, and then how to create space for them. It talks about natural talents, so strengths in things that you're just naturally good at. It also talks about learned strengths, so things you've acquired skill in over time. And it also talks about super strengths, so taking both of those things, identifying your top few, and then measuring them against criteria such as openness, success, frequency, and of course, how happy or fulfilling you find using your strengths. So that's one of the first tips. A second one is to focus on your values and to take some time to think about what your values on work are. Now, in the book, it explains that our values come from three phases. They're formed over three phases. So first of all, you've got your imprint phase from the age of 1 to 7. You've got your copycat phase from 8 to 13. And of course, your rebel phase when you start testing these things in your teenage years. So by the time you get to about the age of 20, you've got 3 to 5 core values that have followed you throughout your life. And these do stay fairly consistent. But of course, when we become adults, we have to make the separation between which values are ours and which ones were given to us or conditioned in us over time, and make a conscious choice about what we want our values around the world of work to be. And of course, we're living in a very different time to our parents and teachers. The book has some really useful exercises for help you identify your values, and it also has some suggestions for examples of values, which is really helpful. In addition to values and strengths, there is also a section on confidence. I was really pleased to see this because quite often when people don't implement the activities or the wisdom from books like this, it's not because they don't know the what or they don't know the how. It's quite often because they don't have the confidence to do it. And so the book does talk about what confidence is, how to identify what it calls your gremlins, and give some exercises in the book for how to overcome them. And I think that would be a chapter worth focusing on if you really want to pursue the career that you want. There's some other useful information there as well. There's a good chapter on networking, and I think this is really key. Now, this has always been a useful skill to have, even in a traditional career, but it's particularly important if you're going to have a less conventional career. And what's nice here is that the key takeaway is that networking is not just exchanging business cards, it's an exchange of help. So the tips in the book are that it's more like cultivating a garden than creating a cobweb style network of people. So this is about nurturing relationships and maintaining relationships if we are to survive or thrive. So the focus here is on quality of connection. So who do you want to meet? And be really focused about why you want to meet them. What things do you want to learn? What things would you like to find out about? How can you keep your ear to your ground in your industry? How can you get feedback? Who can you learn from? And of course, we need to think this through. So we need to be really specific and focused about who we're networking with and see it more of a way of mutually helping each other in our career. We've also got some final tips in there. There's some good exercises on exploring future possibilities, and it looks at this from different angles. And I like the way the book it gets you to think sort of both quite practically and actually think quite big as well. So there's an exercise where it asks you to identify the obvious next step, the obvious possibility for you in your career. So this is the clear next step from where you are now. But it also asks you to think of a pivot possibility. So this is where you think of a way of using your existing skill set, knowledge and experience, but applying them in a very different way, perhaps in a different industry or in a different job role completely. And then finally, it asks you to think about your dream possibility, to think about something that if there were no barriers, there was nothing holding you back, what would you do? If you could do anything, what would you like to be doing? And by looking at those three, you'll probably find you've got three very different answers, or perhaps you find you've got some common threads. So this can help you think much broader and wider about what you want to do. And of course, if we have a squiggly career, we need to think outside our normal linear career path. There's some final skills that the book identifies that can help anyone and that are sought after in almost all job roles. So the first one is curiosity. So this mindset of openness, of being curious about what it is that you're doing and everything's going around you. There's also some good tips in here about feedback. And of course, if you want to manage your career, whatever that looks like, you're going to need feedback. We are the experts of what we intend, but of course other people hold valuable information about how we are perceived. And of course, if we're going to get good at the things that we want to do, the skills we want to pursue in our career, we do need some good feedback on these from other people. So some great tips about why we should seek feedback, but also how we can do this too, and who we should seek it from. And the final one is grit. We've heard this word recently. If you're into personal development, you'll have come across this before. But this is the ability to stick at things, to roll up your sleeves, to get stuck in, and to stay determined and focused at what you're doing as well. And of course, this is another very sought after skill in these volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous times. So there's quite a lot covered in the book. Really, what did I think of it overall? I think the book is great for helping someone plan their career. A lot of the exercises are very similar to what I would do with my coaching clients. I wasn't as taken with the book as maybe I thought I would be. I don't think that's a criticism of the book. I think it's because I'm already sold on what the book is selling. It already resonates with me. I know a lot of this stuff and the exercises already resonate with what I would already do and what I would do to support other people. One disappointment for me with the book is that it was talking about a squiggly career, and talking about, the new world of work, but it does mention the gig economy, but during the exercises, there's nothing in there about starting your own business or working on a freelance basis. So if you're going to encourage people to think broad and wide about their career and how to recognise your talents and then how to sell them to others, it seems odd to me that there wouldn't be a suggestion or a chapter on how to do that on the open market. Particularly odd to me because that's exactly what the authors did themselves. They created the book, created workshops, they have a product, they work on that basis. Maybe it's their next book, maybe that's their next product, but I would have liked to see a little bit about potentially freelancing in there as well, although I appreciate that's a big subject. Overall though, as I say, the book totally chimes with some things I've been working on, and I can recommend that things like strengths, values, networking, feedback, confidence, all of those things, really useful for anyone looking to shape the direction of their career. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you do the exercises, even if you've done something similar before, as well as reading the content, you'll get a lot of value in your career direction.